The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host, and I'm happy to introduce my next guest. It's Annie, right?
Yep.
Annie
Citarelli.
Citarelli.
Yes, very Italian.
Very Italian, and I'm very pleased that you come on my show.
Very happy to be here.
The reason I asked you to come on my show is because you've actually done some work for me, and I was very pleased with it. Not too long ago, we had a college student on, and she was studying medicine. And she's going to be a nurse, and she's at Colby Sawyer. She does things at Dartmouth, and I'm very impressed with her. And we just hope that she can get her message out, and people can see that, you know, young, vibrant people doing things. Now, you're not in college, but you graduated college.
Yes.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Bentley University down in Waltham, Massachusetts, right outside of Bentley, and I just graduated in May. So.
Why did you choose Bentley?
So, well, funny story.
Not that it's a bad thing. I'm just...
So my dad went there, class of 77. My sister went there, class of 2011, and it was the only school that I had applied to. I applied early decision, and I took the risk of having that be the only school, but thank God I got into it, and it was the best 4 years of my life.
Now, they had your major?
Yes. Well, I initially went in there wanting to do corporate finance and accounting.
Cool.
Well, yeah. My first... Not just first semester, my first 2 weeks of school, I was very quickly knocked off of that high horse that I so proudly put myself on.
Right.
So then I went to my academic advisor and I said, you know, this isn't the right fit, but I want to be at a business school. What should I do? She's like, well, what are you interested in? I'm like, I like computers. She's like, okay, we have computer information systems. So I started out doing that, and that's a lot of programming, developing hardware, and I'm like, this is not what I don't like this either. And she's like, okay, well, what do you do? Like, when you go home, what do you do? I was like, well, my mom and I own our own photography business. She's like, okay, so you're creative. I'm like, okay, sure, yeah. Yes, I'm creative.
Your mom has a photography shop.
Yes.
And it's called?
Sweet Shop Photography.
Sweet Shop Photography, okay.
We're based out of Amherst. And so she said, well, you know, we do have this kind of newer major. It's called Information Design and Corporate Communication. And essentially what it is, Bentley about 15 years ago had what the traditional business communications major, but it kind of was running into the marketing major. There really was no difference between them. So they got rid of it, and then about 7 years ago, they brought it back with this information design and corporate communication. And they only had offered it as the minor to just kind of see, you know, any groundbreaking, if it was worth it. And a lot of the marketing and a lot of the CIS, the Computer Information Systems majors, were actually taking it on as their minor.
Because corporations have to market.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
You got to get it out. You need salespeople. You need to get your message out.
Exactly. And so she said, you know, the beauty with this major is that it's actually 3 majors in one. It's public relations, it's information design, and it's web design. So it's business communications, but for today's industry, for everything digital.
Right.
And you can focus in all 3 of those, or you can focus in one, or whatever you want to do. So I focus in information design and web design, because as I did take a few PR classes, but that just, for me, is not my passion. For me, I love designing. I love
PR, public relations.
Yes, yes. And yeah, I mean, it turned out to be the absolute perfect fit. Like I was so happy with my major, and
you did well.
I did.
Yeah, and why is it so important for corporations or small businesses to know how to present themselves? I mean, for instance, you get a good idea. I'm good at what I do.
Right.
I know I'm good, and I get my name out there by word of mouth. Doesn't cut it all the time.
Not necessarily. I mean, word of mouth is obviously tried and true. Like, will never go away. But I think for today's day and age, everything's online, everything is digital, and for most people, that's the easiest way to find anything about you. I mean, say you want to know about a company, you're probably going to Google them. You may come up with their Facebook page, you may come up with their Twitter, or hopefully, you know, if they've done it properly, their website is the first thing to pop up. And what do you do on a website? You're going to probably go to the About page, or you're going to kind of just, you know, surf the website and see what is this company actually about. So
first impressions?
First impression is the most important thing. So, you know, have you ever gone to a website that you're just not impressed with?
Right. Or it's hard to function through. You can't navigate through it. You want some certain information, it takes you to something, and the print is small. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly, and that's actually what I eventually want to get into. It's known as user experience, and it's the functionality behind the interface. So, cool, you have a beautiful website, or you know, you have this beautiful design, but if your audience isn't interacting with it the way you want them to, or they're having a very hard time with it, well, it's not serving its purpose and it's not doing a good job. And the perfect example is, you know, you go to a website, it may not be the most attractive thing, but if it's functional, then okay, you can kind of, the design piece will come later. But there's a lot of websites that you may go to that you even said, you know, it takes you 20 minutes to go somewhere that
to navigate through it.
And you're just like, that's not where I wanted to go in the first place. So it's, for me, I was, you know, I really was drawn to the user experience because I think the psychology behind how you can basically manipulate someone into using your interface a certain way, to me, I think that's fascinating.
And that's interesting because, you know, today I was talking to he was 81 years old. His wife does the computer for him.
Awesome.
Right? But they're on it, and they're getting involved with it. And so
that's awesome.
There has to be people out there that designs it to make it user-friendly for the people going to the site. For instance, I said Google something or other, and oh, my wife does that. Okay, well, just write it down. Okay, fine. So when they write it down, they'll be able to go to a particular site, and it'll pop up, and they'll know how to, right there and then. That's important on their end. And then, of course, then you have these, I know how to work the internet, right? You're a guru. Fine, well, that's whatever. You want to be able to appeal to a broad spectrum of people. So that's an art.
And I find that, well, it's actually interesting. They have a whole, basically, subdivision of this user experience for elderly and for older individuals who are not as savvy with the internet, and they just don't have time to be thumbing around through things. But at the same time, you also don't bore the individuals who are very good and who are very tech savvy. And, you know, any designer you talk to will tell you at the end of the day, just keep it simple. And
now, as for the business owner, okay, I want to be able to track who's coming to my site. I want to know how many clicks. I want to know, if they want my product, they can click on a certain button, it goes into a certain account, there's a fee for that, it does all kinds of functional things for me, and it does accounting for me and everything. You can design something like that.
Well,
not the accounting part, but
I mean, theoretically, yes. There is a difference between developing and designing.
Okay.
So developing are the people who are sitting on their computers typing the code all day and actually building. They're, you know, if you think of it like a house, they are the framework.
Okay.
I am the one that comes in and kind of says, you know, okay, we have this framework. We want, and you know, the architect or it's hard to.
Here's the door.
Yes.
And this is how you open it.
Exactly.
You're going to go up the stairs.
Exactly.
And you're going to go into a room, and it's going to have nice curtains.
Yes.
Okay.
So
that's what you do.
So you have the overall of what you want it to look like, but then you have the starting blocks of just the frame, and I come in and I put the two together. So I take the ultra graphic designer and the ultra developer, and I'm the middle ground between them to say to the graphic designer, okay, it can't be that pretty, because if it doesn't function the way the developers want it to, there's no middle ground. We can't. There has to be compromise.
Right. So you've got a lot to do. You've got a lot to work with here, and making it user friendly and productive for people on both ends.
Absolutely.
Right. So when somebody comes to you, they say, "Oh, geez, I just started this, a construction business, or I cut hair, or something to that effect. I need a website, but I really don't have time to do it. I've got a deadline. I'm working around the clock. Help me." What are the basic things you want to ask them?
So you really want to get a feel of who they are as a person and what their business personality is like. Obviously also what their business does. But for me, I find that there's a lot of kind of, the cookie cutter stuff where everything looks the same. There's really no differentiation between anything. But there's people. Behind a company, there's a person. There's a personality behind it. And I always want to capture that first. I mean...
How do you do that?
You sit down, you talk to them, you take some notes, you ask them some questions. Like I will kind of, I'll go in with questions in mind. Be like, what is your overall goal? Like, what do you see this website?
I cut hair. I want to cut a lot of hair. I want to cut hair. I want to color the hair. I want to make it look nice. I want to make it look like statues. Help me.
So for you, I would say you want something bright, but also contained, because you don't want to look too out there that people are almost afraid of you and say, what is this person doing?
So you come up with some ideas, and then you throw it in front of somebody. Oh, I like that. No, I don't like that.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a long process?
Websites, yes. Websites take a very, very long time. I mean, I don't build them myself. I will take pre-existing templates and work with them that way.
You can adjust them, a little modification here and there.
Yes.
Now, what are other things that you do? You obviously, you do palm cards for politicians. You did a nice one for me. It looks, if I could just show that. It's a palm card, both sides. You did the artwork for it, and then you just sent it out to the printer. You did bumper stickers. JP Marzullo, who was running for Senate, you made a nice little bow tie campaign for him. You helped him.
His website, so yep.
And it looked beautiful. It looked very, very professional.
Thank you.
But who else could use something like that other than politicians?
Small businesses. I mean, especially in a state like New Hampshire that, I might be totally making this up, but 90% of our economy is small business? Something like that?
Yeah, well,
it's high. I mean, New Hampshire is small business. And for some of them, they just don't necessarily have a lot of money to be going to these big outside marketing firms. They don't have the time themselves because they're trying to run their business to have an online presence. So I would like to think of myself as almost the middleman saying, here's affordable prices, because I understand, people work on a budget. I get it.
Sure.
You want to make money. You don't want to necessarily spend it. But I'm also not going to shortchange you either. I'm going to give you what you want, quality, but also,
Does your mom help you with your business as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's been she's been plugging my name, saying, "Oh, Annie's been doing this. Oh, so and so. Yeah, she did all of his palm cards."
So you've been out there. You're getting your feet wet.
Yes.
What made you decide to start your own business, though, as opposed to going working for another corporation?
So it's funny. I did graduate in May, and a year ago, in about a month, I was offered a unbelievable position down in Boston. Very nice paying salary, and they were going to have me go to India for 2 months.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So this is, we had talked about this when I had taken your headshots, but a lot of things just kind of popped up, and the offer just fell apart, as is life. So for the majority of the summer, I was flash applying and just dump applying to all these places, did not care what the positions were, didn't care about any of that. Applied to maybe 70 places in total. Heard back from maybe 20%. I'd say of the 20%, maybe 75 were negative, saying we've gone with other candidates. And the rest of it was, you know, come in for an interview, we'll have a phone interview, and then I went through about 15 interviews maybe, and
You were busy.
didn't get anything, was not offered anything. And so I said to myself, am I going to do this for a year, 2 years? I don't know. Like, where I am right now, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I
Right.
just see this tunnel continuing and continuing and continuing. But I'm afraid of the dark, and I want to be able to see the future. So what do? And I was doing a lot of freelance work this summer for a lot of the candidates, and one of them pulled me aside and said, you know, why don't you make something of what you were doing? You did an amazing job. People are very happy with what you did.
Very.
And he's like, and 'tis the season. I mean, it's election season. It's
Get your
the
feet
most, like, this is the best time to make an impression on people, because chances are,
There's a 2-year cycle too, right?
and you know, chances are that people that are running for things are not career politics. They have businesses of their own that you may help them with their campaign,
Sure.
but once if they lose or whatever.
You know, it's funny. There are 400 candidates, at least in the House, and they're, you know, a lot of them, you know, small business owners as well,
Absolutely.
and they can, you know, they have to make a living, and being a politician or working as a volunteer up at the Capitol, you know, you need all the help you can get,
That's true.
and getting your message out is really critical.
Absolutely.
And getting it at an inexpensive price, obviously, you can get market share there, but you've already established your name with a number of people. And I'll be the first to say, wow.
Thank you.
I have about 5,000 of those little palm cards that you made.
Thank you.
And obviously you make my wife look really beautiful. She's gorgeous. You just vote for me because her pictures are on there. But you did a great job. And the bumper sticker took you about 15 minutes.
No, yeah, you were.
I'm easy, right? Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, you had said, you know, you were at my house, and you were just like, hey, I want bumper stickers. Can you do this? But I want the colors changed just slightly to my older colors, but I do want that balance. Can you do it?
And you did a really good job with it, and it looks good. It's what I wanted, and you basically honed in on it. And
that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
I want what you want.
Right.
It may not be my favorite thing in the world. I might not be happy with it, but if you're happy with it and you like it and you think it's going to represent you as a person, you as a candidate, you as a company.
You were happy with mine, weren't you?
Oh, of course I was. Obviously. Of course I was. I have to say, I love the bumper sticker.
Yes.
That was my favorite.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And well, that's the nice thing about it. And the thing is you're a small business now. You're getting your feet wet. It's tough. It's not for the faint of heart.
Oh, no.
Years ago, when I used to sell insurance, they used to train us. They'd tell us, they'd give us our little pep talk for the day, and they'd say, now listen, that business owner is all by themselves. What they do is they wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, they go in their room, they unzip their chest, they pull out the heart, they put it on the table.
True.
They go grab this baseball bat, and they smash the heck out of that heart.
That's true.
Then they put it back in the chest because it's all numb, and they're ready to start their day.
Yeah.
That's the business world. It's not for the faint of heart,
No.
and yet you're doing it, and you're going to get involved, and you're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs, but you're doing it, and you're going to be very good at this. I'm very confident in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just hope that you can get your message out, and this is one way we can do it. Obviously, after this conversation, what do you want people to know about you? What is the most important thing about your business that is attractive, that they can use?
I want people to know that I am easily accessible, and it's always a need. And you don't have to go with the big cookie cutter typical stuff. I'm here to cater to you.
Right.
That's like my biggest thing is I know, especially small businesses, you don't want to just be in line with all of the others. You want something to differentiate you, and I would like to believe that I'm that missing puzzle piece that can differentiate you from anything else.
Whether it's websites, whether it's literature, photos. Your mom does great photos, by the way.
Yes.
Now, what about the social media aspect? Do you help out with that at all?
Yes, I do. I was working for Andrew Hemingway for governor, and if you go to Andrew Hemingway for governor, his Facebook page, I don't have it off the top of my Most of the graphics that were done on his Facebook page were by me. I was helping him with the live graphics during the debate. So, which, I mean, his competitor did not have. We had a whole social media team, and that's the biggest thing too, is for my generation, it's all social media.
Now, talk about social media. We're not just talking Facebook.
No,
right?
I mean, there's so many. There's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr.
Dig It.
Oh, I was just gonna say that. Dig It.
Isn't there one with the Yahoo or Yay? Or
There's Yelp.
Yelp.
That's for small business. That's rating for small businesses. I mean, there's so much out there.
And you can help people get involved with these.
Absolutely. Because that's the thing, is a lot of people just don't have the time. They think, okay, it's here, it's done. But no, you have to work at it.
Are they all that important to be involved? If you, depending upon what you want, obviously.
Yes. I think for campaigns, I think social media is the best way to go, because it's hard to do door-to-doors. You know, I don't live in a neighborhood that's very easily to walk through.
Right.
So you want to still get to those people. And how do you do that? They're probably on Facebook. They're probably on Twitter. You engage them. And the nice part is the candidate can engage with you directly. You know, you see a picture and you say it's about some policy or whatever, and you comment on it and you say, oh, I agree with this. You can reply directly to that comment and say, thank you so much for your support. Please feel free to reach out to us. And then you can actually link them to your website and say, here's the link to get involved with the campaign.
What's interesting is anywhere you look, whether people are walking down the streets or they're driving their cars or they're watching a concert, everywhere you go, they have these little things called cell phones.
It's such an addiction.
And that little addiction that's called a cell phone, people are playing with it while they're talking to you. What?
Oh,
What'd you say?
Oh, yeah. I'm awful at it. I'm so bad at it.
However, that's a great marketing thing because everybody's on it. Their face is in it.
Well, and that's the thing is, no matter where you go, you always have the internet.
And you can help people get in front of those people.
Absolutely.
And that's with the social media.
Absolutely. And especially with a platform like Twitter, I think Twitter is one of my favorite social medias because it's so interactive. Facebook is okay. It's a much better platform to just straight get your message out, but to really interact with people, Twitter is the best. I mean, you can discuss things with, say you are a state rep. You can mention someone, a congressman from Illinois or something, and say, exactly, and they can see that and they can reply to it, and then people who follow, say you have 150 followers, this congressman from Illinois has 150,000 followers,
right.
And they see that you were mentioned by him, and they go into you and they say, oh, who is this person? And
right.
They start reading. They're like, oh, we actually kind of like this person. Follow, there you go, and now you have more engagement.
Yeah, and that's like that rushing river where Facebook is very slow.
Yes.
But the Twitter is like
It's forever changing.
Constantly moving.
I mean, that's where I get my news. Honestly, that's...
So how do people get in touch with you, and how can they find out more about your services?
So my website, which is still under construction, but should be done within the next few weeks or so.
Because you've been working on everybody else's.
Yes.
Right.
Is pinashnh.com. PINASHNH.com. My Facebook is facebook.com/PinashDesign. My Twitter is twitter.com/PinashNH. My cell phone number is 603-249-6447. It's my business number. Everyone knows it.
Okay, good.
What else? And my email is Annie@PINASHNH.com. Annie@Pinash.com.
And they can see they can see some of your work on some of these sites that you
Yes. That once my website is up, it will have a whole portfolio of all I have to do. So.
Great. So basically, if people need help with the website, or they need help with literature, or their image, you can help them with all this.
Absolutely. Rebranding is something that I'm really big into.
That was the word that was on the back of my rebranding,
yes.
Or branding yourself. Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect. That's what you do.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thanks for coming on Gate City Chronicles.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you great success.
Thank you.
All right. Come back at another time. Tell us how you're doing.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles. If you have a small business, please contact the, what was your name? Annie, I'm sorry. Contact Annie. I have a number of shows coming on. Contact Annie, and she will do a good job for you, and she'll get right back to you. She did for me, and I would highly recommend her. Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles, and we want to thank our sponsor, Aardvark, the Dean of Clean. You can reach them at 603-521-7657. If you need your carpets cleaned, call Aardvarks.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.